This is honestly an amazing question because we do not talk about it enough. And I mean, Zoe, I've been through the same things. The guys just being like, oh, she's here. Like, and that's why it's kind of hard to find guys to play. Even if you're not in a camp or like a practice setting, it's so hard to find guys to play against because you can't just jump into a random run because either you won't get the ball or you won't be guarded, so you're not really getting a benefit, or when you show that you are actually skillful, then their egos and their pride is hurt, and then they get a little bit too aggressive, and then all of a sudden you're getting tackled during a layup and it's potentially dangerous. So that's why it's hard for us in that sense, because we really have to be smart about who we play with. But for the coaches and for the athletes as well, when you're in that camp setting and there's girls and boys, I think I don't think you need to have individual conversations with everyone, right? Because I forget who had said it, but even having that conversation of being asked, do you want to be treated differently? Like, that's letting the athlete know, like, wow, I didn't know I was different, right? So I don't think you need to have individual conversations. What you need to do is, you do your skill stuff at the beginning and you kind of gauge where everyone's at. And that starts with doing the same drills with everyone. So if the guys are doing 3 different moves into a power finish, the girls should be doing the exact same thing, right? Regardless if you may think it's too hard or not, everyone should be doing the same thing. Because as soon as you switch things up, then again, like you don't even know if the female athletes are capable of doing the stuff that you're doing the male athletes. It's kind of almost that expectation of, okay, let's bring it down a notch for this basket, and then this basket will be doing this. So everyone should be doing, not all the time, but do something to kind of gauge everyone's skill level, and then you can kind of go around and see, okay, who can I move to which basket, right? And then if you have a Zoe situation, when Zoe's at that basket, you go through a couple reps, whatever, then you take her aside and say, hey, first of all, playing guys is so much easier than playing girls. Why? Because they're always going to jump. They're always going to swat. And that is a perfect learning opportunity for Zoe to implement fakes into her game, right? Okay, so next time when you do this move, up fake. He's going to go flying out the window. You finish. Then all the guys are going to be silent, right? So it's just using every opportunity to kind of empower that female athlete and say, you deserve to be at this line. This is why I put you here, explaining that to her so that she knows that there's a reason that she's there. And then giving her that coaching and that feedback of, this is how you play guys, because it is different, right? And it's going to help her in her game if, she gets that coaching of, guys are easy, they'll bite on everything. Do a secondary move, do an up fake, and then this is how you're going to be successful. And maybe bring a couple of other female athletes at that basket to make her feel a little bit more comfortable, especially if they're younger, right? So I think it's just a matter of actually empowering them and telling them, you deserve to be here, and giving them those little tips and tricks and be like, guys, this is how they are, right? This is to be expected. They're going to go crazy for any block, right? This is how you get around that.
I loved all of those points. Just wanted to say that. I also think it's so tough because like guys have influence like at their home, at their school, all the different things. But I think it really starts from like coaching them at a young age that like women's and men's basketball, like, yes, you play different, but like we should not be training at all different. Like I remember starting, I was a little old, but like grade 7, grade 8, we'd always have guys in our practices. Like we were always scrimmaging against them. In university, we always bring guys into our practices and they love us. They treat us so well. And like it's because like they want to play the game, they respect the game, therefore like they respect playing us. And I really think that starts from a young age. If you're teaching them like this is like, it's just basketball is what we do, it's what we love, then they're going to grow up with that mindset of like, we're all here to get better. And it's not she can't do this, it's we're all here to play the game we love.
So, the point about teaching them when they're young, like it's all great to have like certain conversations or certain drills at whatever camp people are at, depending on the demographic. But I think we all know it is a bigger picture thing. And I know what I've been reading lately and learning myself, similar, that racism is not a problem for people of color. It's a white person's problem, like that we need to fix. Like they didn't do anything, we're implementing it. And sexism is not females, and that's even the conversation that we're having now, is like, how can we address the issues that are being put on us, which is fair. We need to face them. We do need to deal with them every day, but it's actually the dude's problem to fix, starting at that young age of seeing people differently in a good way, so that by age 10, it's not, well, I'm not going to pass her the ball. It's, there's people in a gym, sure, I recognize differences, but I don't know what she has to offer. I don't know what he has to offer me. So I'm going to kind of treat them the same on the floor. And so that we can kind of grow to that point of seeing the benefits of different games and training according to skill level, which is kind of my next point, which I think, I mean, I know I need to grow in, and athletes as well, is that idea that Canada basketball supports of kind of staging and having scaffolding in your drills, and having people be comfortable training at a different level. Like, not everybody on your team is going to be able to do the same drill at the same time. And so coaches, how can we get more comfortable doing what Tyra was saying, like have kind of that benchmark and then shift people to the level they need to be at? And then how do we get athletes self-aware enough and confident enough to be okay with, well, I'm not at the basket with my friends because I'm not at the same level as them, whether it's girls or guys. And so, yeah, maybe there's a guy at an all-girl basket simply because that's the level that they're at. And there's a girl at an all-guys basket, that's the level that they're at. There's a combo, there's an all-girls, there's an all-guys, but it's based on that skill level. I know it's not as simple as that because there are friend groups and there's the social aspect and peer relationships, but I think that's one aspect that I know I'm trying to work on, is like, how do I get athletes more confident in their self-awareness that, like, this is the point I'm at, so this is kind of that stage of the drill that I'm being placed in, with the goal of improving, to whether that's to get with my friends who are better or just kind of growth mindset type of stuff. But I do think it needs to be more of a conversation on all guys teams, because it's not until they have to face a girl that they have to have that conversation. And then it's just annoying for the guys to be like, oh, well, now I have to play with a girl, because they've never had that conversation before of the value that is brought with that.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't really mention anything about, coaching male athletes, just so I didn't think you guys coach male athletes, but now that I know, I won't get too deep into it, but I think it's kind of related to this, and I think it's super important, and it relates to everything that we've been talking about. We can't compartmentalize life from basketball, right? And men have their own unique struggles that they face, right? Especially when it comes to opening up, being vulnerable, expressing your emotions. So essentially, guys may have even more baggage that they're carrying on every time they get to the court, right? Because they are not even allowed, in terms of the rules of society, to express themselves, right? And to kind of let out their emotions. So as a coach, it's fostering that environment of openness and saying, like, hey, you are allowed to be emotional, you are allowed to express your feelings. And that kind of fosters, being empathetic and being compassionate and being understanding of others, and framing everything in, having a leadership mindset, right? So if you're at the basket just with your team, right, and you have kind of the weaker guys on your team, are you going to, get super excited when you get a block or you get a steal, or are you going to hype that guy up? Are you going to be a leader for them? And it's the same thing as if you have the mixed camps, like, you're teaching your guys that why get excited from blocking someone who's smaller than you? Like, that's expected. You're supposed to do that, right? You should get excited for things that actually required, like hard work, anticipation, right? So it's just having those conversations and instilling that into your guys every single day of, like, what is really important, right? Is it the ego aspect, or is it the leadership aspect? And are you actually growing through everything that you do off the court and on the court? And quick side note about the ball thing, because I just remembered, oh my gosh, because this happens all the time. And this is for the girls and the guys, because I used to complain about it too. And I used to be like, what? Like, we're playing with a guy's ball, but this isn't fair. then I realized that shooters can shoot anything. A shooter should be able to shoot a blueberry into the basket, right? So it doesn't matter what ball you're using. So that's something that is important to say to your guys and your girls, everybody. Doesn't matter what ball you're playing with. A baller is a baller. It doesn't matter what you're using. So you should be able to play with that. And maybe it's not super game realistic, but for the girls, if you're playing with a bigger ball, that's great for your ball handling, right? And you have to use your legs more on your shot. Perfect. For the guys, if you're using a smaller ball, same thing. Like, these are all things that are going to impact you in a positive way. So just continuously giving that disclaimer so that people aren't complaining about the ball size. It's related to basketball, like getting a bad call or whatever. Like, you can control it. Just play.
Yeah, I mean, it's all related back to resilience, right? Like anything, whether it's society or teammates or the situations you're in, and you play through it. You find those kind of self-reflective moments, you find those analyzing moments, you find those pushing through moments, and within all that, you find your limit as well. You know, if a group of people, whether that's male or female or just being jerks, like maybe you go find some different people to play with. Other ones, you play through it like, yep, this is making me better because they're not passing me the ball, so I'm going to work on my movement. It's a bigger ball, so I'm a shooter shoots, you know? So I think it all relates to a bigger societal picture, but also great practicing for resilience that you can apply to a game.